This podcast is brought to you by the Washington State Department of Health. When we think about the COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy in the Black community, let's remember, it didn't happen by chance. It's justified in history. But the will to change the narrative is strong today, and our people are lending their voices to the conversation. We're sharing our stories and the reasons that made us choose the vaccine so we can lead the way for others to make a well-informed choice too. To hear our stories, visit hereforuswa.org.
What's up? It's your boy, The Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
Part of a minute to drinking time.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Steve at Throw Hill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. Today we toast Aram's Cafe in Belmont, Massachusetts. Belmont's just a suburb of Boston. Now, for the last 35 years, Aram's has been serving Armenian food for both breakfast and lunch, has an exceptionally dedicated following. And recently, the restaurant received 75 gallons of heating oil. Ordinarily, this wouldn't be any big deal, but there was this one inherent problem. You see, Aram's Cafe, it doesn't use oil heat. See, they used to, but not in about the last year. So unfortunately, the pipe from the outside that leads to the basement, it was never removed or capped. So 75 gallons of biofuel was dumped into the basement, which then created an environmental hazard. And now, after 3.5 decades, Aram's Cafe is closing permanently.
Oh.
It needs environmental remediation. They're like, dude, the time it will take to get this place back up to snuff, years will have passed. It doesn't say you can't reopen, but you ain't doing it anytime soon. So the problem was this. They used to get oil heat. They have since switched over. The truck that was delivering the oil was supposed to go to 371, whatever the street was. It went to 375, which is Aram's Cafe. The other problem is the guy's GPS said you're at the right location. The reason the guy believed his GPS is because the way they have this set up to prevent this kind of thing from happening is if you're not at the right address, according to GPS, you can't even operate the truck to get rid of the oil.
Okay.
So the driver said, you're in the right place. He goes to operate the truck. You're in the right place. There's the pipe. Yeah, 75 gallon. And he did this overnight. So they came to work. Couldn't figure out what all this crap was in the basement. Yeah, it's the heating oil.
Damn.
Oopsie doodle. Yeah. Everyone's apologizing. But let's drink. We pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy.
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola bitola.
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Hey, Steve at Throw Hill, could you please tell us how Profile This is played?
Oh, I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Zach. Welcome to the Men's Room. All right, Zach, you understand how this here game is played?
I do.
Fantastic. You have your choice of one of three stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have Bite Me. In other words, what did someone find in their food? And finally, interior decorating, where you guess the foreign object that ended up on the inside of someone.
People go with interior decorating.
Interior decorating. All right, here is your story. Now, as this story is actually from a medical journal, I don't know where this happened, only what happened. And this is what happened. A 55-year-old man showed up at the hospital actively bleeding from his butt. Now, the bleeding was a result of him shoving an object into his rectum and then having the experience go wrong. Now, doctors inserted a tube into his rectum to get tissue samples because at first they were fearing that the bleeding may have been the result of cancer. Well, it wasn't cancer. So they followed that up with a laparotomy, or in layman's terms, they made a small incision to see if they could actually locate the source of the bleeding and why the man was in pain. They also inserted a tube into the man so the blood and gas could pass out of his body. I'm sure it smelled delicious in there. But the whole thing was complicated by the amount of blood present because of, and I quote, actively bleeding ulcers and pulsing, protruding vessels. Quick side note, you don't want to read medical journal stuff. Now, eventually, medics were able to find the object that caused all of this, and they were able to remove it by putting clamps around it and then slowly pulling it out. After 3 months of daily enemas, the patient made a full recovery and was finally released to go back home. Now, the question is, what did homeboy slip up his keister to cause all of these problems? Was it a glass bottle, a plastic egg, a screwdriver, or a drumstick? So glass bottle, plastic egg, screwdriver, or drumstick?
What do you guys the panel think?
Screwdriver or what?
Or drumstick. As in the wooden instrument type. Yes, Ted. I knew I'd have to clear that up. Not the ice cream treat, not a piece of chicken, but a drumstick the drummers use.
Is it the ice cream, the chicken?
Zach, I'm just going to make it quick and easy for myself. Based on the rough edges involved in the amount of bleeding, it seems like a glass bottle, unless it was broken. Granted, it's large, so you could burst blood vessels, but I'm thinking that something actually poked into it. So I'm going to go screwdriver, I think.
You know what? I think I'm going to go with the same. I think glass bottle.
You're going to go glass bottle, Zach?
Yes, sir, the glass bottle. I just feel like the rough edges and like the dirty old man.
Okay, glass bottle for Zach.
I'll go with Miles, except I'm going to be more specific and say Phillips head.
Ooh. Nice. More than likely. More edges. All right, we're going to find out what this guy did to his rectum there. What did he put in? Was it a glass bottle, a plastic egg, a screwdriver, or a drumstick next?
That was a tease.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
How y'all doing?
Got him.
Oh, interior decorator here. I've got a 55-year-old man who shoved something in his backside and was not good because he was bleeding like hell. Lots of bleeding. Medics did remove the object with, I guess, clamps or tongs or something you use for barbecuing. Either way, was it a glass bottle, a plastic egg, a screwdriver, or a drumstick that was causing him so much problem?
And that is a question that we posed to Zach, who has since hung up. Oddly, Miles, you bring up the barbecue thing. Every emergency room, they have a barbecue master
forceps,
if they need it. Oh, let me handle this one. I can get that in a real delicate.
Ooh-wee.
Oh, boy.
Pull that out there backside.
Yeah.
You think surgeons give those things a click?
Can you not? I can't not do it.
Yeah, sure.
If I got tongs, first thing I do is clink.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure they work and all. You guys both went with a screwdriver, including the Phillips head specifically.
Correct.
Nope.
No, it was not a screwdriver.
Right?
Our friend Zach, he went with the glass bottle. Zach, I wish you were still on the line because you are correct. Oh, the problem was this. Because again, you go to the hospital saying, oh, my belly hurts. And they say, what's wrong? Oh, I'm not sure. And then the doctors looked and said, we figured it out. Keep in mind, I don't know what country this happened in. I'm assuming it wasn't the States, because in the States you have to pay for every part of your medical procedure, right? So instead of them doing investigative stuff, I'd be like, there's a glass bottle in my ass, please get it out. But anyway, he didn't want to tell him that. The problem was the glass bottle had broken.
Oh, no.
That's why there was so much, right. That's why there was so much blood.
Out, right.
That's why, and they had to pull it up piece by piece.
That makes sense. Now I feel better. Now for all TV news all the time. Time for TV time at 10.
Yeah.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
All right, your choices today. Seth Meyers.
All right.
The Jimmys.
Fallon and Kimmel.
James Corden. He's leaving next summer, don't forget. A lot of people rejoicing. A lot of people sad.
Yeah, well, people aren't missing Kimmel, I guess.
Or Ted Smith.
Is it Ted or is it late night?
It is right there. The title. These guys have teams of talented writers helping come up with the monologues each and every night. It is up to you to determine, is this an actual late night joke and from whom, or could it be a The Ted Smith original?
The Met Gala was last night. This is your year. The Met Gala was last night. And this is your yearly reminder that if you pay enough for a ticket, dressing up like a cheeseburger is considered fashion.
Kimmel.
Seth.
Smith!
Damn it!
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Now you're right.
I kept seeing that picture and I'm like, why is that cheeseburger so attractive?
Oh, no.
It was Katy Perry.
Oh, did you hear what she's up to?
Oh, yes.
Is that real?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
I read through it.
All right.
It's a $100 million deal over a period of 10 years. It's a deal that Katy Perry signed. So $100 million, $10 million a year for the next decade. It will be limited edition, and each one of these products that Katy Perry is quote unquote putting her name on goes for $2,000. What it is?
That's not her name, bro.
What's that?
That's not her name she's putting on the product.
Oh, right, no. It is a fleshlight, but specifically molded to the shape of Katy Perry's vagina. She signed off on it. She actually kind of funny quote. She's like, God made one of me, but
look, I would buy that, but not for $2,000.
Yeah, and not only that, but that canal can produce a child. Yeah. So obviously it has the ability to get bigger and smaller, depending on the situation.
Sure.
If you do a plaster cast of a man, you're pretty well getting what you're getting. All right?
Do it when I have an erection, please.
Yeah, right. And, Jimmy and whoever else has done this before, it's been done. And they clone a Willie.
Yeah.
Clone a Willie. That's right. You can actually do that. But with the inside, look, man, I'm just saying, you can bring an 8-pound body out of that thing. I don't know how you get the right dimensions at any time.
It's just the outside.
Just the closest they're going to be to Katy Perry.
Right. I see.
They're not
just
gonna,
the outside.
Just buy a
the point
fleshlight.
is she's hot.
Just buy a fleshlight.
Apparently, Hewlett-Packard has been remotely disabling customers' ink cartridges if they cancel their ink subscriptions. And customers were like, if my wireless printer worked in the first place, this would be an issue.
Amen.
Fallon.
That's Fallon.
Apparently, Hewlett-Packard has been remotely disabling customers' printer cartridges if they cancel their ink subscription. Customers are like, if my wireless printer actually worked in the first place, this would be an issue.
He's not kidding.
Every time you change it, it always says it's like yellow low. Like, I don't have yellow. I don't even have yellow ink. I've been printing black and white.
Sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
Trust me,
So frustrating.
The series Grey's Anatomy celebrated filming its 400th episode. That show has been on so long that the doctors are now patients.
Seth Meyers.
Yeah, it's Seth.
The series Grey's Anatomy celebrated filming its 400th episode. That show has been on so long, all the doctors are patients now.
According to a new study, dogs' personalities have nothing to do with its breed. For instance, a different collie pushed Timmy in the well.
Seth has got to be Seth.
Yeah, it's Seth.
According to a new study, a dog's personality has nothing to do with its breed. For example, a different collie pushed Timmy into the well.
A draft of an upcoming Supreme Court opinion leaked, and it showed the court is planning to overturn Roe versus Wade, even though 29% of Americans only 29% of Americans support that move. Apparently, they decided masks aren't mandatory, but Mother's Day is.
Kimmel.
Fallon.
A draft of an upcoming Supreme Court opinion leaked, and it showed that the court is planning to overturn Roe versus Wade, even though only 29% of Americans support that move. Apparently, they decided masks aren't mandatory, but Mother's Day is.
Oh, that was a little heat just coming from Fallon. I know. Didn't really touch that much. Let's see. Basically, if you watched The Walking Dead, you know there was a spinoff series coming up. All right. But Carol and Daryl, they're not going to be there. Basically, Melissa McBride is exiting the show before production begins. The show is being filmed in Europe, and AMC says that relocating would be, quote, logistical, unattainable for Melissa at the time. They added they hope to see Carol sometime in the future. The show is still going to carry on with just Norman Reedus as Daryl, but there's no word if a different Walking Dead character will take Melissa's place.
Now, Mike, you were a Walking Dead guy,
They
right?
didn't write her off. They just kind of changed where they were filming, and she's like, I just can't do it.
Sure, I get that.
Yeah.
Are you still up on it, or did you give up?
No, I dropped out like season 3 or like halfway through season 3 or season 4. Like the character Negan, who was really big, and I forget what the guy's name is, but he's from here in Seattle. I still haven't gotten to where he shows up on the show, but I know that as soon as there was a very big thing that happened with his character. That's also where a lot of other people dropped off as well. So
okay, I just wonder if you're still watching it because. Nope. There was a point where everyone was watching it. I'm not one of them, but I know it was massive. Now I don't know anyone that watches it.
Well, this spinoff isn't on yet. The Walking Dead's not still on, is it? Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Good point.
Yeah. For a while, I mean, Better Call Saul. Everyone that started seems to still be watching it. Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, Game of Thrones, right? Those shows that seem like from beginning to end, people stuck with it. Walking Dead, for a while, it's all I heard about. Even just as we sift through news to prepare for the show, I never watched the show, but I knew what was going on because the headlines were always there. But even like the headlines have dried up.
Yeah, I just assumed it was off the air and they're just waiting to do that spinoff.
Nope, apparently it's still on.
All right. Yeah, I think sometimes, too, like, some of those shows just get that popular and fall off.
Sure.
Right? I mean, like, look, Ozark is back. Like, I'm watching the last season, but there's definitely a couple seasons where I was just like, all right, this is almost, like, too slow.
Sure. Right.
So it's a little tough. And then sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I just kind of forget to go back to a show.
And that to me is
agreed.
telling.
Ozark for me.
Like, if you don't remember to check it out, like, it's good when you watch it, but not good enough to make you think about it.
Mm-hmm. And to me, like, the whole zombie thing, whatever.
Yeah, maybe it's not right. And I think that's something, too. Whenever you get into, like, specific kind of sports stuff or geek culture, right, which again, it's just a matter of terms. Like, I make fun of geeks, but I'm a sports geek.
Sure.
But some of those shows get super popular, but at the end of the day, people that aren't like super geeky probably fall off with some of the zombies. And you're right. It seems like 10 years ago, like everybody was a zombie. Right. There were zombie walks, zombie this, zombie
dances,
that.
trying to break a zombie world.
Right. Everybody's like zombies.
But you know how things work, right? Like, so.
And none of them were Cranberry fans.
And none of them were good. Like, if they do like a zombie thing where they try to break the Michael Jackson
for Thriller or whatever
in Fremont. So I'd wake up one day and go, what is going on down here? And then I realized it's just a bunch of zombies walking around getting ready to break the dam, which is great.
But it's like anything. Things become super. When Star Wars came out, then 10 million TV shows and movies, not just science fiction, specifically space-oriented, right? Good versus evil thing. And then Twilight came out, and those goddamn vampires falling out of your ass. Mm-hmm. Then Walking Dead, and granted, zombies have been popular before, but Walking Dead really brought it up. And it all kind of goes away. One thing at least we'll say about sports, whether you like sports or not, they always stick around.
But it's ebbs and flows.
Sports do. I'm saying more like the sports shows, right? You had Part of the Interruption comes out. It's the grandfather of those shows.
Right.
Then you had First Take. Stephen A. Smith shows up. Skip Bayless was in. But now there's got to be 10 shows of two dudes or two
screaming
hosts
at each other.
kind of screaming at each other. So it's like, right, the hardcore sports fan will stick in there, but a lot of those shows, I don't think as many people, it's not as a national thing. Like,
I think people that aren't really, really into it recognize the absurdity of what you're watching when you're really into something, right?
Correct.
So, right, zombies, you go find Walking Dead, it is what it is, but then it falls off, and you're down to the zombie hardcores, and you're absolutely right about our sports shows, two guys yelling at each other about everything, right? If you're not deep into the sport, you go like, these are the same goddamn shows.
And that brings me, sorry, Miles, but that kind of brings me to like the main point tonight, which is nice about this Sounders match, right? As I was talking on the Megacast today, brand new episode out.
I was waiting for that. Okay.
Yeah. Is that like sometimes when it's like home and away series, people get confused. What goals count more, this or that? And I was telling Mike today, this one's simple.
Right.
Like, there's going to be 67,000 people.
69 now.
Is it? Nice.
Keep saying, yeah. Look, no more tickets.
Sure, Miggs will love that.
I know, cut it off right now. Cap it. But that's what's nice for even the average fan. Like, it doesn't worry if you haven't watched a game in this tournament. You watch that game tonight. Whoever wins gets to raise the cup and gets to say they're the kings of CONCACAF. CONCACAF, of course, a lot of people ask. Basically, you're talking North America, Central America, Caribbean countries.
Yeah.
Right? So South America has their own thing.
Sure.
Then you have Europe, which today, right? So you have the UEFA Champions League, which is the Champions League I think most people watch.
Sure, because it's been around, man.
Right. And then there's like, I want to say 8, like Asia split up into a couple. You might have North and South.
Okay. Well, they got a lot of people, so that would make sense.
They do. Yeah, it's wild. And then this game tonight also, like, keep in mind, like, no MLS team has ever won this cup.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a game.
Big deal.
If Seattle wins, it's truly a game changer as far as soccer goes in the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah.
Right,
And
without a doubt.
And the Seattle Sounders FC, like, obviously, it's still the MLS. It's still, so that you're going to, Seahawks are always going to run this town, right? Seahawks, those are NFL's America's sport. But if you've never really gotten into soccer, start watching the Sounders FC because they have a standard. Which when they started this...
Absolutely do.
Right, when they go up to MLS level, what's that, 09, right?
08 or 09, yeah.
Right. So you're kind of like, all right, people are getting into it more, but like they don't miss the playoffs. The last, I want to say 3 to 4 years, they're competing for a cup, right? So they won 3 Open Cups in a row.
Right.
Then you win a couple MLS Cups. Even the years we're not in it, you're pretty close to being in it, or you're losing in a final, right? I was down there in 19 when we won it at home, which was
right. It's a cool experience. Look at it like this. The Seattle Sounders, and this is a legit statement, are what the Patriots were when Tom Brady was there. They're going to be competitive. They're going to dig deep, and no one takes them for granted. They are never walkovers. They are never cupcakes, and it's a standard that's been set as a franchise.
Right, and you win this tonight, and you're right, that just sets you off on another level, because then you're qualified for the FIFA Club World Cup. Right? So then, you know what I mean? Like, the Sounders, like most American clubs, you bring in these monstrous European clubs, right? I've seen Chelsea down there. I've seen Manchester United, this and that. Well, there's a chance you play in this competition, you might be playing a Chelsea or a Liverpool or
which is crazy.
A Real Madrid
in a real game.
It is not a friendly.
It's not a friendly. It's a real match. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything will go smoothly and they're going to win that tournament. But the fact that you could, if you win this tonight and you could qualify to go play in that tournament with those monstrous clubs, the kings of Europe, the kings of Asia, and you get to be the kings of CONCACAF, I'm like, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
that'll be super cool to watch. And it's just a very special moment. I think it's awesome that somebody. I mean, I know so many people that never go to MLS matches are like, "Oh, I'm going down tonight." Yeah, and good for them. If you're out there, if you're driving on your way down, hopefully you're on the light rail. Parking's going to be wicked expensive. But yeah, get down there, get some pints flowing, have fun, be loud, and enjoy the match down there. Now you're probably saying, Ted, I don't know, but I might want to check that out. Well, good news. It starts at 7 p.m. It's going to be on Fox Sports. You can watch it. The Sounders FC taking on Pumas out of Mexico City. Thus, if you listen to the Appy Hour, why we've been kind of mean to Mexico City, which is an awesome worldly city.
Fantastic city, but right now, F you.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. I mean, it's just that easy.
Yeah. All right, go Sounders.
Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. You are listening to The Men's Room.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. A man is busted tagging a water tower because he wrote he and his girlfriend's name and spelled together wrong.
Together.
Meanwhile, we see a woman shoots at a man who refused to engage her axe wound in song. Massachusetts Beach Town boasts to let sunbathers let it all hang out. 7-year-old receiving communion shows off chugging skills beyond a doubt. And a COVID testing site in Australia has to be shut down. Why? Snakes. It's time for your headline.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's my cop.
Top story. We go to Massachusetts, where the island of Nantucket has just made a vote. There's a few beaches on the island that are clothing optional, but the good people of Nantucket have voted to make all of the beaches on the island topless beaches.
Ted, you're the only person here that I know that has been to Nantucket. Is that good or bad?
I have not.
Oh, you haven't been to Nantucket?
I've been to the Vineyard.
Gotcha. Okay, based on the Vineyard, is this good or bad? Look, there was a topless pool at the Wynn in Las Vegas, so we're on the clothing side. Yeah, and so it's two different pools. They're separated. And me and our buddy, who we referred to as Batman, we're both like, hey, ladies, because our wives are hanging out. We said, sure, we're going to go to the topless side. They said, knock yourself out. We went over there. It was horrifying.
Oh, no.
No, we were back in like 2 minutes, and they were like, what's up? I said, dude, it's like looking at me. You
Nantucket's so rich and private, like...
You don't see people.
Right, as I say, in Martha's Vineyard, like every morning I'd get up and take a walk on the beach. You'd barely see a human.
That's what I was going to say. Are you really going to ticket that?
Yeah, you know.
The most offensive thing you'll see on the beach is a European guy in a Speedo with a hairy,
God damn, somebody tell them.
Yeah, so if you don't want to wear a shirt, don't wear a shirt.
Yeah, right.
It's just kind of surprising.
It's all good.
For Nantucket, because it's so old school and prim and proper.
I think that's the thing that surprises everyone.
Gotcha. In other news, a woman in Louisiana has made a plea deal to spare herself some prison time. She was taken to court on assault charges after she had fired a gun at a man that she was getting intimate with after he refused to perform oral sex on her. The victim fled the home and heard a second shot coming from the woman, but was ultimately unharmed in the incident. She pled guilty to the charges and now faces community service, fines, and conduct courses.
I think the guy just didn't want a penis in his face.
I don't think he did either.
To see her mugshot. This is not a joke.
This is not.
Mike points at the store, and I go, yeah, I read this earlier. I didn't read the caption of the mugshot. Yeah. And he goes, dude, that's the chick.
Right.
She looked like me when I was 17, right?
Yep.
Dirt stash, little tight fur. I, honest to God, thought it was the dude.
I did too. Well, that's how I figured it out because she's 21 years old. It was like, all right, how old the dude that she's attacking here is like? Because usually this website is particularly good about all right, picture to the right, and there was only one person that was there on the page.
That's it.
And it was her. I was like, oh, okay.
You're sure they didn't get the pictures themselves? I'm not saying this. Man. I'm not even saying this to be mean. I'm not here to poke fun. I mean, legitimately.
We might have to look up that story.
Yeah. I refuse to believe that. There's no way.
A young girl in South Dakota is going viral for really getting into the Catholic spirit. The 7-year-old was beyond excited to go to church that Sunday and take part in her first communion, which is followers will eat a wafer and drink wine to symbolize the body and blood of Christ and his sacrifice. Her mother took a video of the girl's first communion, and she nailed the wafer, but it took a turn when she took the chalice and proceeded to chug the blood of Christ. It has since gotten a ton of views online where people all saw the humor in the situation.
How drunk do you think that girl got? Look,
my God.
The mom said, and the mom said she told her daughter, look, when you get communion, when they hand you the wine, it just has to touch your lips. You literally don't even have to swallow.
Right.
But her daughter was super excited about this, and if you're Catholic, it's a big deal, right? So her daughter that morning, she said, was practicing, the whole thing. Take a bite of a cracker and would chug water. And then when she went up there and did the actual communion, they hand her wine.
They did.
She's 7.
Yeah.
She chugs this like you told your drunk aunt, hey, man, it's closing time. I got to get you home.
But she's got to get through it is probably what's going through her head. Like, all right, we got to finish this bad boy.
She crushed.
Let's go.
And it's hard to explain unless you're Catholic, but like that first communion as a kid is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
Sure,
it's
you don't want to get it
massive
wrong.
deal.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
So I'm with Mike. I think she just got excited and was like, oh, I guess I better drink the whole thing.
She got it right.
Man, and I don't like wine to this day. I can't imagine that tasted good to a 7-year-old girl either.
Oh, no, and it's awful. I was an altar boy.
Sure.
Like, it is... Before, like, screw cap wine got fancy and stuff, they would just buy the cheapest wine, like, the priest bless it, and that's it.
The best part about being an altar boy is the thing that you light the candles with. It, like, slides down to...
Yeah.
Oh, I loved afterwards because you have the little cup and you snuff
bell and you
snuff them out.
Yeah. And you're first out the door. Another good thing. You're first out because the minister and the priest follows you, so you're first out.
Oh, you got to go back in there, man. Clean up.
Not the Methodist church.
I could work. I was good at working a funeral too, Mike.
Yeah?
And you get $20 from priest.
Ah, there you go.
that sounds awful.
That's a free headlines with that money.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. We'll see you Men's Room Happy Hour up next exclusively on the Odyssey app, bitches.
Yes, indeed. It is all true. In the meantime, we be all about this bitch for 180 seconds or so. So until then, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man! A Double Flush production.